Welcome to the all-new Sports Visions on Bounce TV and to our worldwide web viewers on www.sportsvisionsusa.com. Hello, everybody. I'm DJ Jones alongside my good friend and traveling partner, Dale Williams. How are you, sir?
What's up, player?
Man, are you ready for this week? I mean, are you really ready?
I'm ready, DJ. On the road with Sports Visions, presented by Nissan.
And if that's not enough, big guy, you got all sports. Hockey just started here locally, and we're not going to have opportunity to talk about the Cottonmouths just present. But you talk about the World Series, the biggest game in Major League Baseball. Opening day for the NBA, of course, was this week. You know, we had, of course, our SEC favorites that we have to talk about. But all of this going on, it's just a sports haven right now.
It's a sports haven, sports, what they call it, sports paparazzi.
Yeah, coming up in just a little bit, folks, we'll have an opportunity to talk about a couple of teams that are leading the nation in rushing, and they're in the SEC. And also we'll have an opportunity to talk about, of course, that a World Series that a couple of teams have waited quite some time to play in. And I know that these cities are excited.
These cities are excited. The tourism has gone through the roof, player.
All right, all that and more coming up next on Sports Visions.
Sports Visions presents the 9th Annual Columbus Valley Area High School Football Awards Luncheon. 11:30 a.m. at the St. Luke Ministry Center in Columbus, Georgia. The awards luncheon ceremony will acknowledge 25 of the area's top high school football head coaches, along with each of their best offensive and defensive players. The ceremony will be highlighted by the selection of the Valley area's best academic, offensive, defensive, special teams, coach, and middle school player of the year, as well as several community service awards. The guest speaker for this year's awards ceremony will be the University of Georgia Bulldogs head coach, Kirby Smart. For more information, contact DJ Jones at 706-681-1136 or Dale Williams at 706-681-5192.
And welcome back to Sports Visions. I tell you, Dale, out of just pure respect, we might as well start off the top talking about the best team in the country, and that team has been ranked number one since week one, and that's the Alabama Crimson Tide. Again, made another team that we thought was pretty good look pretty bad.
Make it look pretty bad, DJ. Alabama Crimson Tide still number one, DJ, still rolling. Doesn't seem like they're going to have any accidents this year, DJ, but they still got a lot of football to play.
Texas A&M didn't have a chance, and I know that going into the game, I thought that Kevin Sumlin team was for real, and you know what up? You just, like I said, you just can never bet against Nick Saban. These guys, week in, week out, year in, year out, they just grind.
They grind, DJ, and really, when you say they're matched up, Texas A&M physically matches up with Alabama, but the difference again, DJ, is the quarterback. The Jalen Hurts piece is big, and then the defense scoring another touchdown, DJ. Those two pieces right there in their special team play, and that's got Alabama being number one player.
Big ups to Jonathan Williams, the big defensive end who actually had a scoop and score on the against Texas A&M. He was SEC Defensive Player of the Week, and this is the 10th consecutive week that Alabama's defense has scored a touchdown.
I mean, that's big, DJ. Like I said, I would love to ask Nick Saban, looking back on your teams, which team had the best defense? Because this got to be one of his best defenses. I think really the Eddie Jackson injury might hurt him a little bit, but they got players all over the place, DJ. They might change the corner and put him at safety. You never know with Nick, because Nick knows his boys. That's who he coaches, the DBs, and I think really they'll be able to replace Eddie Jackson. But really that defense is getting better and better, and Jalen Hurts ain't missing a beat, player.
Up next, Ed Orgeron and the LSU Tigers, and guess what? Your big guy, your big running back down there that everybody forgot about, he's healthy.
Yeah, he's healthy, DJ. You know, really, Alabama's going to figure out a way to stop this guy on their week off as they prepare for LSU. But, I mean, Leonard Fournette, man, he had a game, and really, we're going to see how good Leonard Fournette is in the next 2 weeks.
284 yards that Leonard Fournette had in last opponent, SEC single game rushing record, and he's running he's running with the same fever that he had last year prior to the injuries this year. This will be a test, of course, for Alabama. This will be a test for Leonard Fournette.
It's going to be a big test for Leonard Fournette for whether he goes to the NFL or not, DJ. If he has a big-time game, we got to put him back into the Heisman race. If he doesn't have a big-time game, really, I think it's going to fall on LSU didn't play well. LSU didn't have offensive line, couldn't block for him. But really, they're playing with LSU, and since we're talking about LSU, they got a pretty good team right now.
All right, let's take it to the Plains where the Auburn Tigers. I mean, you know what? They're cranking that thing up, Dale, each and every week. They came off an off week going up against Arkansas, blew them out of the water, over 500 yards rushing. You know, and again, another SEC record for offensive rushing production in a game.
Lord have mercy, DJ. These boys almost rushed for 600 yards. And man, again, that Cameron piece. Cameron, that big number 36, man, he is a bad man. And I think really one of the biggest things, like I said last week, DJ, Gus won't be throwing the ball 39 times anymore. They're going to run the ball. They're going to pound the ball. They are just as physical as anybody. And really, they, you know, like I said, I don't think nobody want to play Auburn right now. We're going to see how good they are this week against Ole Miss. But really, the game that we really want to talk about, and we got 3 weeks to talk about it, I don't know. I know that's one team that's not scared of Alabama. So, you know, really, we're looking for a collision course with that game.
Glad to see that Auburn's offense has caught up with Kevin Steele's defense. We've been talking Kevin Steele, and his name is probably got a Q list rating of 10 right now because we've been talking Kevin Steele, Auburn's defensive coordinator, for quite some time. And you know what? He hasn't let up, and that defense hadn't let up either.
It hadn't let up neither. Montavious Adams, you know, Rodney Gardner, always. I don't care what people say, wherever he goes, DJ, he's going to have a defensive lineman, and his defensive linemen are balling out. I think really that's the big difference, DJ. He's got some big secondary guys behind him. The back end of Auburn's defense is doing very well. But really, to be able to go on the field fresh because they're running the football, DJ. You know, when you got that thing spread it out and you throwing the ball here and there, the defense might not get any rest because you got 3 incompletes. They getting some rest, and they turning up on defense.
You mentioned Montavious Adams, but Carl Lawson, the linebackers, he's had an outstanding year. Both of those guys are going to be certainly all-conference and probably could be all-Americans because, again, they have been very key in that defense. Let's talk about the Dogs now. Of course, they're going to play the biggest game of the year down in Jacksonville. You and I have both played in a couple of those ex-world's largest cocktail parties against the Florida Gators. But you know what? Kirby has all and everything to gain and not a whole lot to lose because everybody's expecting Florida to beat up on the Dogs.
Well, you know, DJ, they have like you said, you know, don't have anything to lose. There's a down year for Georgia, it seemed to be, but that's when Georgia strikes. Kirby has, you know, he knows the history and the tradition of a Georgia-Florida game, so we know he's going to have these guys turned up to be able to play. They're going to be ready to play, DJ, but I am very afraid if Georgia don't hurry up and win one of these games, it's not going to be a rival anymore.
Well, again, I hear you, and I believe you what you're saying. However, Florida's picked 7.5 points to win this game, and they're the second. Actually, they're leading the SEC East right now. And, you know, again, I just think this is a perfect time for an upset.
It would be a great time for an upset, DJ. I would love that. I would love them for Georgia to upset these guys, but at the same time, you know, we're going to see, again, it's a barometer of how far away is Georgia? You know, can we size up with these guys? You know, Florida's been beating them soundly the last 2 years, so we want a rivalry. I don't want to call it the world's largest cocktail party. I wanted to get back to be a rivalry.
All right, let's end up actually in Atlanta where Georgia Tech had an off week as Georgia did. Now they're going to come back and play Duke, a team that has struck hard and heavy this year. They beat somebody a little earlier in the year they weren't supposed to beat. Georgia Tech, however, came off of their last game playing against Georgia Southern, and Georgia Southern gave them all they could handle. But an off week helps. Now Duke and Tech, that's going to be quite a matchup.
It's going to be a good game, DJ. You know, again, earlier this year, Duke upsets Florida State, you know, and really this is a divisional game. They're in the same division with Georgia Tech. So that's going to be an interesting game, DJ. But Duke really is not the pushover that they used to be. They're a little bit more physical. It's going to be a great game and, again, a big game for Georgia Tech.
All right, let's go ahead and take a look at our Chick-fil-A picks of the week.
All right, our Chick-fil-A picks of the week. We got Alabama's off this week. Auburn against Ole Miss. Georgia would travel to Jacksonville to play Florida. Georgia Tech at home against Duke. Stanford against Arizona. Big-time game right here, DJ. Utah against Washington. And Clemson against Florida State. Don't forget to stop by Bradley Parks, Chick-fil-A, and fill out your picks of the week form.
Now let's take a look at our Black College scores and schedule for the week.
Okay. Ah! Oh. Hey, I'm trying to get crunk.
C-R-U-E. Tell them how we gonna come. Tell them why they don't want to. Tell them why they better run.
Why do we have Aflac? Aflac.
And Major Medical.
Major Medical Boy, yeah! I help pay the doctor. Ain't that enough for you?
There are things Major Medical doesn't do.
Aflac.
Pays cash so we don't have to fret.
Something families should get.
Like a safety net.
Even helps pay deductibles to cover your back with.
Learn about one-day pay at aflac.com/wrap.
And welcome back to Sports Vision. It's now time for our Atlanta Falcons report. The Atlanta Falcons, Dale, hosted the San Diego Chargers, a team that came into the Dome at 2-4. And, you know, Falcons coming off of that exciting road trip. And I know that the last game in Seattle, we mentioned this in the last show, how much that referee's call could affect the Falcons. Now, I know these are the big boys, and they had on their big boy pants. However, the momentum seemed to have shifted out in Seattle because coming back into the Dome, it was nowhere in the world that the Chargers were supposed to play the Falcons toe-to-toe as they did.
Well, you know, DJ, I'm going to put it a little bit more. I'm going to go to another level with this on this Atlanta Falcons loss. I think really Atlanta Falcons have a great offense. They're aggressive on offense. They want to do everything on offense. They want to put all the eggs in the basket with Matt Ryan and Julio Jones. They do a great job scoring points. But on defense, DJ, they're not aggressive. You know, when you get a 17-point lead, and you know this, we DBs, you don't want to be in a prevent defense. And as they were in their prevent defense trying to defend, Chargers lit them up. I mean, they got receivers flying over the place, open everywhere, and they came back slowly and slowly. And when they tied the game up, DJ, I knew that was a wrap.
How much of that would you say is Dan Quinn being a little cautious because he's got a primarily young defense? We got, his starting safety Neal is a rookie. The two inside backers are rookies, and you got some guys out there that hadn't played a whole lot of football. Turning them loose at this point in time. Do you think that is because Dan Quinn is not being aggressive, or you just think he doesn't trust those young players right now?
I think he's not being aggressive. And, it gets from this, I think really they got defensive players. DJ, they had 4 sacks before the fourth quarter. We've been praying for sacks. So that's telling me that I got a line that we're getting after the quarterback. I want to put some more pressure on this guy. I need some turnovers on here and put my gas to the metal. But in every game this year that the Falcons have broken out into a league, they get into that soft defense and they tend on defending instead of attacking. I think it's all on Dan Quinn. I'm good with the personnel that they got on their defense, DJ. But this is all on Dan Quinn, and he's a defense coordinator player.
Hey, don't get it twisted now. Phillip Rivers is no joke. He's going to go down in the Hall of Fame because he just broke all of Dan Fouts' records. And, of course, Dan Fouts, everybody knows the Hall of Fame quarterback out there with the San Diego Chargers for years and years and years, Dale. And I can remember, me getting a little of that toast, man, again, going up against Kelly Winslow. But Phillip Rivers is the real deal. He's a real quarterback. Right. He's a talented quarterback. He's a knowledgeable quarterback. So don't think that, obviously, everything falls on the lack of what the Falcons couldn't do because Phillip Rivers is doing this and has been doing it a long time.
Well, he's been, and that's the key. Phillip Rivers, that's why I don't want to give him time, DJ, because he's so seasoned, he's so experienced, the Drew Breeses of the world. And then you got one coming in here tougher than that. You got Aaron Rodgers coming in this week, DJ. So they got to get after the quarterback, and when they do get a lead, I don't have no problem. They're going to score some points. But you got to turn up on defense.
You do have to turn it up. And I'm glad that the Atlanta Falcons are going up against the Packers. And, again, Aaron Rodgers is coming in because I want to know if they are really the real deal because the Atlanta Falcons, they came out. Of course, they laid an egg in the first game. But, the several weeks after that, man, they made us think and understand that they are one of the top teams in the league. And getting back to the business, of course, against the Green Bay Packers, will put them back into that same conversation.
Well, again, this is a big game. Everybody said, well, it's early in the season, with the NFL having 17 games, DJ, the Falcons don't get a bye until the 11th week. These games are very important. The Falcons got to win at least 9 games, DJ, to win their division.
Yes, they do. And again, I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about some of the other things that's going on around the NFL. You know what? The Dallas Cowboys, everybody just keeps talking about Dak, and the Cowboys just keep on rolling and rolling. But want to say something about a guy that I've been watching for a long time, and I just respect his game because he didn't come in as a bonus baby, a first-round draft choice. He's a guy who came in as an undrafted free agent, and he worked his way into a Pro Bowler and one of the solid players. He stepped away from the game this week. I'm talking about Adrian Foster down with the Miami Dolphins.
I mean, really, DJ, we talked about this, last year and even now. These players are becoming more sensitive toward retiring. They're making so much money, they don't want the ground and pound, the injuries and all those things. And if they've made 2 contracts, DJ, and they're not doing well, they don't mind backing out. They don't mind retiring, and really, hopefully he can find something else to do because, again, football is a hard sport. Football is a rough sport, and if your heart's not in it, DJ, that's not the place for you.
You're absolutely right. But, again, getting back to Dak and all the things that's going on with the Dallas Cowboys, we're getting closer and closer to, of course, a decision having to be made as far as are you going to bring Romo back or are you going to leave Romo just where he is? And I think, you know what, as the weeks go on and the days go on, it seems like Jerry Jones is softening to the fact that he likes things going just the way they are.
No kidding. I mean, you got to. I mean, come on, man. And I really even think Tony Romo, team player, good guy, good locker room guy. I don't think he wants a distraction. I think really he let him roll. Let me get well. He's got to get well. We're talking about a back injury, DJ, and this guy's frail anyway. Let Dak do what he do. And I mean, really, if it's not broke, don't fix it, Jared. Leave it alone, man. Tony Romo, he's not going to fall out with your player.
There has been a plan B to that formula as well now.
Oh, yeah?
Again, Dez Bryant has not been playing. He's been hurt, and they've been winning and producing without him. Word is, should he come back? Is he now available to go in the market to get some of the other players? Because, again, we know that Dez is a great player, but Dez has that edge, and he has a temperament that can tear that locker room up with all those young players, especially with Dak Prescott.
Well, DJ, I learned long ago with that number 88, it's only one playmaker. That's Michael Irvin. Dez has been good. He's a great receiver, DJ, but at the same time, they've been winning without him. And Dak Prescott been spreading the ball around. There's no pressure on him to get the ball to Dez Bryant. And one good thing about Dak, he wasn't like he had no pressure on him when Dez Bryant was playing. So Dak's fine. Dak been seasoned for a time like this.
It'll be interesting to see what happens when Dez is cleared to play. Now, again, finally, let's talk about, of course, we know that, Ben Roethlisberger is out for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Tom Brady is back and hadn't missed a beat. And, has Tom Brady done anything to make you think that the New England Patriots not going to be the contender coming out of the AFC?
Oh, not a thing, DJ. I'm telling you, really, they are fine-tuned and they have such a great – I'm thinking, they're going to run through the playoffs. I think really with that tight end, that double tight end piece, and the receiver, 11. All these guys – Edelman. And then they still got, you got receivers everywhere. But I think that double tight end piece and sending both of those jokers right down the seam, DJ, I mean, really, nobody checked Gronk since he even came back, man. Nobody's checked him at all.
All right, let's take a look at our Crown Royal picks of the week.
All right, DJ, we got Green Bay against the Falcons at the Georgia Dome. We got the Raiders traveling to Raymond James Stadium in Tampa to play the Buccaneers. The Seahawks against the Saints. The Patriots against the Bills up in Buffalo. Eagles against the Cowboys, Redskins against the Bengals, and the Cardinals against the Panthers. Don't forget to email Dale Williams at sportsvisionusa.com for your picks of the week.
Sports Visions presents the 9th Annual Columbus Valley Area High School Football Awards Luncheon. 11:30 a.m. at the St. Luke Ministry Center in Columbus, Georgia. The awards luncheon ceremony will acknowledge 25 of the area's top high school football head coaches, along with each of their best offensive and defensive players. The ceremony will be highlighted by the selection of the Valley area's best academic, offensive, defensive, special teams, coach, and middle school player of the year, as well as several community service awards. The guest speaker for this year's awards ceremony will be the University of Georgia Bulldogs head coach, Kirby Smart. For more information, contact DJ Jones at 706-681-1136 or Dale Williams at 706-681-5192.
Welcome back to Sports Visions. Dale, I tell you what, this is the time of year, obviously, every year since we were little boys, and this is probably one of the first sports that we started playing is baseball, and
That's right.
it's the Fall Classic. It's the World Series. It's Mr. October time. Remember, Reggie Jackson hitting those
That's
3
right.
home runs with the Yankees.
That's right.
George Steinbrenner went and plucked him away from those 3 championships he won with the Oakland A's. You and I both grew up watching that. And this time of year, regardless of how bad the Braves played earlier in the year that made us not even pay attention to the season, but you still get, when the World Series comes around, I get fired up no matter who's in the.
Oh yeah, really, when you play a 162 game season and it comes down to 2 teams, that is really you got the best 2 teams in baseball with the Cleveland Indians and the Chicago Cubs. I mean, really, the Cubs won almost 100+ games. Cleveland about 95 games. I mean, really, you got the 2 best teams in baseball, and they've waited such a long time to get into the World Series. The Cubs, first time since 1908, DJ. In Cleveland. They played against the Braves back in 2007, and they haven't been in there since then. So, really, it's going to be a big-time series.
Well, the series, which is a 7-game series, started earlier in the week in Cleveland, and I know that they went up against opening night of the NBA as well with LeBron James getting those rings, and I just wonder how that worked out. But the bottom line is that you got 2 great teams, and, again, a lot of tradition right here with these 2 baseball teams. And, again, I like the proximity. They don't have to go – it's going to be cold, but they don't have to travel much distance between, when they turn the series over and transition in and out.
Well, they're very close. They're very similar teams, but at the same time, they got great and crazy enthusiastic fans. So that's going to make good because you really want everybody turned up for the World Series, and I want to see that. But I think right now I got to go with the Cubs, DJ. Joe Madden. Anytime Joe Madden as a manager is in a World Series, Tampa, the Miami Marlins back in the day, and now with the Chicago Cubs. I think he's gonna be real good. I think the Cubs are gonna win. And then I'm gonna tell you something, our guy. The Braves have a big problem of letting good guys go. The Jason Hayward piece?
Yes.
Jason Hayward, I got him being the MVP of the whole World Series.
All right, I'm gonna go against you. I'm gonna go with the Indians because of the spirit of the city. Of course, the Cleveland Cavaliers had a chance to win the World Championship a few months ago, and that spirit is still, I believe, in Cleveland, which gives me an opportunity to think that the Cleveland Indians might bring home another World Championship, which I hope propel the Cleveland Browns into somehow finishing the season in a decent manner because they hadn't won a game up to this point.
That ain't gonna happen,
player. One other thing I want to mention, Dale, before we go to the next segment. Oftentimes we talk economic impact to a city. Now, again, what the World Series does to the cities that it's played in. Cleveland, who has a phenomenal comeback when you talk about the story of LeBron James re-signing and going back home, certainly this World Series is going to help impact that even more. But the fact of the matter that base price for these tickets, I'm talking about face value for these World Series tickets, anywhere from $85 to $650. Tickets are going for those same tickets from $5,000 to $50,000 to get a ticket to these World Series.
Lord have mercy. I mean, the economic development has just boomed in Cleveland. Chicago, I think they're pretty good in Chicago with the tourism, as big city as Chicago is. But the people in Cleveland, they're going to make sure that they come up on this with tourism, for us with the excitement of the city, the fans getting there. Because really, you got some people, they want your firstborn, DJ, for these tickets.
All right, we'll be right back after this.
Sports Vision presents the Chick-fil-A Picks of the Week. Every week during the 2016 college football season, Chick-fil-A will sponsor the Picks of the Week segment on Sports Vision. Sports Vision will pick several college football games from around the country for the customers to pick the winning teams. The customer that picks the most winning teams will win a Chick-fil-A platter and a gallon of tea, compliments of Chick-fil-A Bradley Park. So customers, fill out your form and make sure you fill out your contact information and wait to hear if you are the Chick-fil-A Picks of the Week winner. All forms must be turned in by Friday, the day before the game, by closing time. The winner's name will be announced on Sports Vision the following week. So stop by Chick-fil-A on Bradley Park to pick up your form for the Chick-fil-A Picks of the Week.
Why do we have Aflac?
Aflac.
And Major Medical?
Major Medical boy, yeah! I help pay the doctor. Ain't that enough for you?
There are things Major Medical doesn't do.
Aflac.
Pays cash so we don't have to fret.
Something families should get.
Like a safety net.
Even helps pay deductibles to cover your back with.
Learn about one-day pay at Aflac.com/wrap.
And welcome back to today's final segment of Sports Visions. And we've talked football, we've talked baseball, but guess what? Basketball season is here now, as well as, of course, the NBA. They had opening day on Tuesday, of course, down in Cleveland. The world champions got their rings, and they opened up against the New York Knicks in the midst of Game 1 of the World Series, so we know that was crazy. But here we are, Dale. The Hawks opened up on Thursday night, and again, the NBA season has officially kicked off.
It officially kicked off, DJ, and really, for speaking of the Hawks, I think really the Hawks with the addition of Dwight Howard, I think they're going to be a little bit better. They won 48 games last year, DJ. I think they can get into 50. I saw that Dwight Howard averaged 22 points, 11 rebounds during the preseason, and really, I think Dwight still has the potential, DJ. I just think he just needed some love. And if you can't come home and get some love, you can't get it anywhere else. I mean, really, you got Bazemore, Millsap, you got Culver, and you got Schroeder. That's a pretty good five, DJ.
You said it, man. And again, when you said coming home, you know what, I heard several interviews where Dwight made the statement that, being home amongst his family, it's been wonderful. Everybody's, been just great to him. And then he talked about the teammates being amazing. And again, showing some love. But more than anything, I've seen that it looked like, obviously, he's got a little bit more pep in his step. Yeah. He's back to the old Dwight of double-doubles. Of course, he's dominating on the boards and, of course, protecting the rim. And he's getting, of course, his share of points here. So, again, we're just going to have to wait and see if Dwight Howard versus Al Horford is what the Hawks need.
Yeah, Al Horford, he got dealt away to the Celtics. The Celtics picked him up in free agency. I think it's going to be interesting. It's a lot of teams that are circulating around the NBA. The Hornets are going to be pretty good. They won 48 games last year. So people out of the East, it's not going to be just a throw-in with Cleveland. I got Cleveland repeating, DJ. And I think really, everybody say, well, the Warriors are going to be the toughest team. Yeah, with the addition of KD, I think they are. But at the same time, every time somebody pays a lot of money for a team, DJ, it doesn't seem that they win championship. Then you got the Spurs to look at. You got the Clippers. It's still going to be an interesting NBA season.
But don't slip on the Indiana Pacers because, again, they got Teague. Now, again, all they've needed was a point guard. Everybody's been saying over the years, Jeff Teague, you and I both know, is a quality point guard as he has been for the Atlanta Hawks for a number of years.
Well, it's parity all around now in the NBA. And like you said, that's a long season. That's a grind. 82 games. Then they go into, you got to win 16 games to win a championship. So it's a grind, too, DJ. I think really the team that gets hot, the teams that stay healthy and really takes the momentum into the playoffs, that's the team that's going to win.
Well, we're certainly looking forward to, of course, continuing to cover the World Series. And, of course, we are excited to go into Phillips Arena, as we always do, and go in there and tape shows on location on the floor right there in Phillips Arena. So all of that and, of course, this football season in college and, of course, professional.
Hey, on the road with Sports Vision, baby, presented by Headquarter Nissan. We're going to be on the road. We're going to cover that basketball piece a little tighter this year, DJ. And really, got sports going on everywhere, man.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for all the sports we have for today. For Dale Williams, I'm DJ Jones, reminding you to keep your eye on the ball. Have a great week.
Matthew 6:33, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you.